yes, pardon. Medina. Pardon. 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 atajiona ajitoe. Hakuna. Sisemi kitu. Nikena na modu ambayo ipo. Kena nasema kubalia. Mama kuna keki pale. Sawa. Wameenda kuniletea.
Kwanza ikiwa ni trailer, isipokuwa ni trailer anafunga. Mtasema tu nampendelea. I know. My God.
When is the mic starting, though? Pato.
I see.
Tumeshaanza. All right. Anywho, this game Terra started on a very tough note, but they fizzled out. They were leading, but to me the issue is that they're young.
The what?
They're young. University of Nairobi are young, and so they make too many mistakes. They're erratic. Even if you looked at towards the end of the second quarter, they came back, they tied the game, and then they had 3 straight offensive in play. Stanbic has turned their season around since they brought in Cliff. I think they're being more and more consistent in how they play. He's still trying to figure out some of the players, but I think that they are starting to get an identity.
So, as a coach for a team that is as young as UON, what do you think would be like a stronghold for them, or what would help them to actually turn around the game and actually come back?
When they're young people, you need to put them in structure and plays, because as young players, everybody wants to do something, wants to show his individuality. So I'm saying it from point of reference. I was a young player when I was in university in USIU.
Okay.
We went to the finals, we went to the semis because we could play within a structure. A lot of university teams couldn't achieve it because they did what we call in the hood scratch up. You just get everybody's attempt, everybody's driving. So if Coach Eugene wants them to get back into the game, he needs to make them go back to the fundamentals, go back to their sets, go back to what will allow them to play together, such that they can find a solution together for their success. But if not, it'll be difficult.
But so far, we already know that UON is not a team of structure. They really don't go with, structured basketball.
They go with energy.
Yeah, and what if I give you the ball? What are you able to do with it? So far we have seen that whenever the ball goes to the big man with the low post, and he starts to play the big man, he's able to get a quick shot from the other big man. So I think they should be able to maintain that, and actually even their guards, we have seen that they have good shots. So they should be able to create for them those shots, then they'll come back into the game.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So hence, the coach just, even if it's not a play, just the way you've explained, has to explain to them. Has to explain to them that it's a rhythm, it's consistency. You said it, get shots from passing inside. You have to remind them. Run it, get the ball there. On this side with Stanbic, I'm always with number 5, Brian. What's this, Brian, I think? Is Brian? Number 5?
Sorry?
The point guard?
Stanbic? Yeah, Stanbic. Brian.
I get worried because in close games towards the end, it tends to be erratic. It tends to overdo too many things. That's the only point where I'll be nervous for Stanbic if the game is close. This is ironical. Lawrence, number 15, Stanbic hasn't played the whole first half. What do you think is the change? Why is the coach putting him in all of a sudden? Yet he didn't give him a single minute in the first half.
I think Coach Cliff is still learning and getting to know his players, so he's not really able to use him effectively. But I think he should use him more, because we have seen the way he has been playing since the first leg started, second leg, and right now he's really getting
Absolutely.
few minutes than he should be getting. So I don't know. I feel like he should use him more.
Indeed, he's got to use him more. He's got to use him more. He helps them a lot on rebounds. He helps them a lot. One thing Cliff likes and one thing he does well is his teams grind a lot on defense. Coach Cliff is a grinder. He loves guys who can hustle and grind. In reality, his favorite style of basketball is high tempo, pressure defense, run and gun. That's his. Maybe that's why Lawrence doesn't fit necessarily, because by nature he likes run and gun. As you can see their defense and the movement, you can see their defense is giving a lot of trouble to the University of Nairobi. That's a beautiful basket by Down Wilson. It's ironical, this kid was in the national team when Coach Cliff was there. He did a couple of tries. I think he was in, oh Lord. That was a beautiful play. That was an amazing play there. I wish he made that dunk. I wish he made that dunk.
But I don't think he was very aware that the other guard was coming to drop that ball.
He was caught by surprise by that pass. He literally, I think he thought his teammate was going to try and dunk it himself. Right, okay. What do you think generally about this year's men's league? Do you think the playoffs are going to be exciting?
The playoffs, yes, they will be, because so far we have Thunder still unbeaten.
That was a botch dunk. Just go for a layup. We're down 12 points. We don't need a dunk attack.
We don't need the dunk as much. But as I was saying, Thunder is still unbeaten. And we have teams that really want to, remove that streak from Thunder. So it's either they do it within the remaining games or they do it during playoffs.
But who stands a chance? The closest games I've seen are Stanbic, when Coach Cliff just came in, and KPA.
Umoja in
when
first
Coach
leg.
Cliff was there, and Umoja in the first leg, where they led for 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
Yesterday, they were not even close to who they were in the first leg. I don't understand, because they made additions. So it was kind of it really didn't live up to the expectations yesterday.
I think they really disappointed their fans because, there's no way in the first leg you lost with not more than 5 points, and then now you come and lose with more than 20. It really didn't make sense, but maybe it was a bad day in office.
It was. Maybe it was a bad day in the office, but they didn't seem to be tactically ready, because in the first leg, I think what they threw at Thunder was Joel, and Thunder's preparing the BAL, so their focus was a bit out of position. I've said it already, it's going to be tough for many teams currently, because the BAL juniors are gone, and they're focusing on going back.
Yeah.
I just think that the rest of the pack is very close. Like, apart from the Thunder matchup, I think Stanbic versus anybody, Equity Puma seems to have found their strides.
Yeah, they're finding their ground right now.
Yes.
In the second leg. But if we remove Thunder and now have the other teams from there, it's actually going to be very interesting to watch this game.
I think so too. I think we're in for. I can see Stanbic also since they brought in Coach Cliff.
But so far, I'm seeing as if the university teams are really struggling to get their position.
Yes. That I agree with. I feel the same. The university teams, they started with energy.
Yeah.
Except for Strathmore. Strathmore Blades suffered a lot of injuries, and we're going to watch them next. Against Ulinzi, they struggled with injuries all season.
Yeah, the whole season. And right now we have also one of their impact players with another injury.
Jason has had a tough season. I think he should sit the rest of the season out. As you watch Stanbic and University of Nairobi, currently they're not proposing to us any form of structure. I think they've
But
moved.
both teams, they don't even have structure. Sorry to say, but both teams are just playing. Like, they come work with scratch.
The only thing I'll give to Stanbic management, and I applaud them for, is giving jobs. A lot of the guys that they've absorbed got employment.
Yeah. And now I wish all the other banks would actually emulate that.
Yes,
And
because
they help the young people
it's very
within
important.
basketball.
And at least it creates a livelihood for these guys
Yeah.
who have a talent in sports, and they're graduates. So for crying out loud, it's not as if it's a pure favor. It's a qualified employee
Yeah.
who just has an added value. He or she can play a sport. So I really applaud Stanbic for doing that. Like you said, may other banks emulate.
They should emulate that. Even KPA, which is not a bank, but they also should emulate that.
I mean, they've tried in the last few years. They have employed a couple of guys who are there, which is good. I understand that it's competitive, but still, I still think a lot of athletes. Basketball is an academic sport. A lot of these guys, like you've just seen, these are University of Nairobi students. In terms of the Kenyan context, it's the top university,
Yeah.
which means they have the best grades. It is impossible that a bank tells me they can't absorb a graduate from the University of Nairobi. What do you mean? He's an A student.
I
At
think
worst, he's a B+.
in the Kenyan employment system, they really don't like being the one to teach someone. You get
Yes.
like, I'm the one who started. They want people who already know. The reason I'm employing is because you already have the experience. You get very few employees want to get someone who is a fresh graduate and actually like help them know about the market.
Which I understand, but even at the minimum rate, absorb a couple. As you can see, a big shot again by Stanbic. Stanbic is stretching this lead. They're going with this game, slowly but surely. I love watching Coach Cliff on the sidelines. He's extremely animated as a coach. His passion and intensity for the game is very high. The thing I'll tell you about universities, sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. But the reality is that when you have a university program, you need to focus on longevity. You can't try to win games easily. The University of Nairobi players look like freshmen, most of them,
Yeah.
with a couple of second-year students, and maybe a handful of guys in their fourth, fifth year. You have to build a structure, a way of playing, such that it's easier for your team to have continuity. You can't focus on winning games. You have to focus on being better. The other professional clubs can focus on winning because they're investing money for this.
But if you say university teams to focus on getting better, yet we know there is always relegation at the end of the season, what happens?
I'll give you a little backstory for you to understand. When I was in USIU, and after that, when we brought our ladies team, when we go to our ladies team fields, the year we recruited Cynthia Irangunda, and there's a little crew from Tigor. The objective was to participate as we gel and create a team. We didn't care about the ranking. But because you've removed the pressure from a young player of winning, you just put the pressure of understanding what they're doing. The team won games and ended the season number 5 after the playoffs. And the next year, and the year after, the team went to the finals for 4 consecutive years. 5.
So, is it that students work better when they're not under pressure?
Because, no, the pressure of winning in a league of grown people is that they want you to learn and gain experience overnight. Just to the same point we were making about employers not wanting to teach new employees. Hence, they prefer recruiting a recycled employee that has 5-10 years experience, right? So that's the same principle. Students are coming in. They're those interns. You can't tell the intern to give you the numbers of your 10-year employee in the lab.
Yeah.
Give him intern work. Relax, learn. This intern can shock and surprise you positively, and you hire them. That's exactly it. When you get a young university team, focus on the small things. Because once they can see things are working, they can now push it a notch higher, which is trying to win with the things that are working. Okay? But I can't try to win, I don't even know what I'm doing first. University of Nairobi trying to make a run. Putting pressure. It's always defensively that you gotta wake up. Whenever your team is down, they gotta wake up defensively. You can't focus on offense first. Because offense will frustrate you. Once you miss a couple of shots and layups. Then on defense, you just grind and get the ball back. If the defense starts rolling, the rhythm comes back. Where is he going? That was not the smartest move.
Yeah. Actually, my issue is he went head first. Like, yo.
Literally. That's a great pass. Score that. No pass needed. Good job. Good job. That's an amazing play. Everybody says kick out, but they don't realize he scored 6 of their last 8 points.
Yeah.
He had no business passing the ball outside. They can't contain him. They're smaller. Because coach has not decided to play Lawrence. So he has a small lineup. That can't really disturb Brian inside the paint.
I'm actually, because you're even seeing Peter Kajube still out for so long,
Yes,
yet
very
he's a
good.
very good shooter for Stanbic.
Yes, he is. He has helped them a couple of times this season. As they say, coaches have their own tactics. You need to know what they're trying to do. You can't assume. But
Do what works for you. Do what works for you. What you're good at. Do what you're good at.
I'll tell you as a
Doesn't want
coach,
to spice it up.
I'll tell you something. What some players don't get sometimes. When a coach sits outside and he looks at his players, he's measuring their energy. He's evaluating their readiness to go in, their readiness to follow instructions, their readiness to fight. So when players really sit outside and say, this coach doesn't like me, if you could help this coach win, you play. Because coaches don't have to like you.
But let me ask you a question. We are seeing number 15 out. We are seeing Peter is also loud. Like anyone who is very offensive and less of defense in Stanbic, they don't have the minutes currently. But people who are more defensive in Stanbic right now have the minutes. So don't you think you can never fit into someone's manifesto unless you are what they want?
It's good you've mentioned it because it's a thing I've had a fight with. Players got to pick teams and coaches based on the philosophy. I used to play basketball with a guy called Dan Okudi. He was a fast-paced runner. Blah, blah. I told him at the time, I said, you fit well in KCB Lions because KCB was a running team. The coach believed that we had to cross half court in 4 seconds. and score in 8. And Dan loved pushing the ball. But Dan made choices of teams that want to play set offense, that want you to call plays. So, and that's the problem most of our players, to your point. Those guys are in Stanbic. Okay, for those that can't blame them because they arrived in Stanbic before the coach arrived. But when the season is over and next season comes, they should move. You have to go to a coach's philosophy. You cannot change a coach. You can't say this is how I play. It's how the team plays, based on coach's philosophy. He likes defensive guys who can shoot the 3. So, we need to fall into that.
So it's more of the players to fit into the philosophy of the coach, and the coach cannot use what he has.
That means he's not coaching.
But what about what happens to the know your players, know where to use them, what situations
yes, but I have to have a
use
team
them?
philosophy. To things in groups. So I can't tell you shoot the 3 and tell this person to drive systematically. You're going to say, coach, I'm confused. Why? Wow. Referee is off-white.
Yeah, I think we should.
You have to, because sometimes they think they're infallible and they are not. They do make mistakes. They do read things wrong.
But I've never seen a ref take, like, recall a call.
And yet the video shows him standing right in front of us. And he still denies while looking at the video. Good move.
Have you ever seen it?
It depends. It depends.
Or
But no, generally not.
they're not allowed to recall their.
Because they can recall, that's what I'm saying, it depends. They can recall their calls. One minute to go in this third quarter, and Stanbic is. Off.
Laban, number 18. 18 inbounded.
From the first game when we played them, I was still working with Mojo. And
He played NBK first leg and second leg. It's like he slept saying, Kesho wananiona. He's on fire in both games. He could be on fire on one. But anyway, yeah, that's when I took notice of him, and I was like, this is actually a very good player that. In your experience so far, and in the, the people who have been brought into teams from university teams.
so this one is a catch-22 because of one simple thing. In terms of recruiting only, Strathmore has the best recruiting class. It went on to further the basketball. I think USI is right up there. I think I see a bit of Kenyatta University. Strathmore that graduated.
Before he got injured.
He was there when he was still in school. When he left school, he went to play professional basketball outside. He never played for them. That's what I'm saying. It depends. Because it depends on the league structure and incentives. we back on, Nasser? Producer, are we back on? Is the sound back on? Okay, good. In regards to the talent and supposed to be, you have a lot of talent coming from the university that should be transferred to the clubs. But I think that this season there's been a better effort. Because if you look well, KPA is a bunch of guys from Brooklyn, USIU to Strathmore.
Yeah, and also UON.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think only Eldonets doesn't have graduates.
In the league.
And I was coming to that. That's the problem. People don't understand there's a cycle. The cycle now is this. Thunder is a top team.
Yeah.
Then they have the younger tier. Dima,
Garang.
Eugene,
Yeah.
Fade. It's not heavy. It's not heavy. It just take a second season for most of these guys to become much more. Is in good hands, personally, because a lot of the teams are young. What's the oldest team in the league? It's Umoja. That's the oldest team in the league. For the men, we see it. Job, Ocampo, Moses, Ioti that they just added, Nick.
But
Have you
all
seen?
those people that you have,
That's it. Who else?
and Perez.
And who?
Perez. Felician.
But that's a temporary addition
Okay.
because in the country.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's going to be here for 2 years.
Okay. All of them are.
Fahim is not old.
Yeah.
So,
Washir.
not old.
Okay.
Those are guys only approaching 30 now.
Okay.
So,
Jonte. David Mazwembe. David.
Gitonga. For him,
Is.
he's not old.
Is.
What is old? Being 30 is not old. That's a prime of age in sports. We get old when we cross 35. Sports prime is 28 to 34.
Hey.
So it's not
Shooting guard.
play that much. We talk about sorry, and we shall watch them later on. In their main units, they are younger than their old.
That.
The Derricks. That's what I'm saying. You have to have a veteran or two. Even in the NBA currently, Oklahoma City is in the finals, but they have Caruso as a veteran. Hartis, they have a couple of guys. You need a couple of guys so they can hold. We're not going to talk about LeBron, Steph, KD anymore. We have to talk about Shea and Luka. We feel weird and say, E-League inaenda. Haiendi mahali iko sawa. We move to the new stars. Same here. Thunder set the bar hard because of their professionalism. I mentioned it to many teams already. It's not about recruiting. It's about what is the plan when you recruit it.
Okay.
Thunder has a skills program, a fitness program, long enough training session, put the players in a professional setup where they don't have to do any hustle to play basketball.
Health. What about
They
their
can focus.
health? They have such kind of a section. Mental health,
Everything.
body. Yeah. Okay.
Everything is there. Financial management. They're thinking about the next steps. You have to think about the next steps. So opposed to being stubborn, I hope the teams are absorbing and emulating as much as they can. I understand when structures like banks own teams, the teams function according to the banks. The way the contracts are built for employees is basically the way they see athletes. Case in point, it would be very difficult for a bank to pay a player, but if a bank was a sponsor of a team, that team could pay 500,000. Because I'll just come to you and say, Stanbic, I want you to sponsor my team of the tune of 50 million a year. I'll manage it the way I want to. Because now it's a business.
Yeah.
My team is a business.
Yeah.
I'll take Stanbic stay money and pay one player 500,000, 200. Because the banks have a basketball department. Do they have?
They really don't.
They don't. They have a sports welfare department. They don't have a basketball department. They don't have a section. It's not their core business. What is the added value for the bank having a basketball team or a football team as their core business. For corporate gigs, I'll hire some guys who work for me, who play for my corporate entity. Wow, as he botched a wide open layup. So to the subject, it doesn't add any value to them. It only adds overhead. Because any liability, if anybody gets hurt, even forget about the bank that is playing now. Any bank that wants to come in. You heard about the Barclays Bank tragedy. Eagles, many years ago, where SG, Angelo Chivia, used to play the bank. So it becomes a problem. But imagine if the bank was only a sponsor. So the bank only gave me 15 million to manage. It's different because Neo Sasa, no matter who I am the one who incurs this liability, not my partners who gave me financial support. It's none of their business.
Yeah.
It's my business. I need to make sure I ensure my place
within that team. So now, who becomes entitled or who takes it as an entity to be able to run the businesses of that team?
The teams exist. That's what I'm saying. How many sponsors teams we have in Division 1? 2 teams I know. I coach. Why do you form another ladies team opposed to coming to sponsor that team?
Yeah.
There are documents. You get into an agreement. What is my equity here? What is my charge? I can leave anytime.
Yeah.
I sign a 5-year contract, whatever it is. If after 5 years it doesn't add value to me, I can leave. But when I leave, the team won't die. So, because it was their team. It wasn't somebody's team that they financed. Okay? But when you have a team that just acquired
Yeah, for so long.
what Umoja is doing, what Thunder is doing,
Yeah.
it's you come in. 20 Sports came in.
Even Eldon
If 20 gets exhausted tomorrow and goes, Thunder will still be there.
will still be there, true.
I'm not discouraging corporates out there. I'm just telling them their best bet is to invest as a sponsor, not to own.
Not to own the team.
Run their professional entity. If they do that, then it's okay. Because the point is they must be independent from bank policies.
Okay.
They must have them with what professional entities do in sports, not according to the bank or the breweries or the airline, if it's an airline, or do they form a rugby team? They sponsor the national team and move on. You get it? Because why would they enter rugby? It's an 11-point game. Back to our game for our people watching. As I mentioned to you earlier, you can see the difference because they're just playing on the adrenaline opposed to using a formula. They came close, tied the game, led a bit, but the immaturity in the game.
Experience. And just to ask you, as a coach, do you go for talent? Like we know basketball, there are people who just have the talent. Like each coach has their own philosophy. So you as a coach, what is?
First and foremost, I usually just recruit off potential. So if you ask anybody about my coaching journey, recruit finished products, it's not really my mindset. It's products, it's not really my mindset. It's not my approach to the game. My approach is to see potential in a player and bring them. My approach is to see potential in a player and bring them and help the players that I wanted to recruit when I was working in the former team Umoja. That was one of the problems that they were having. Because it's more like, I know what can happen if I put these guys within a certain setup and work with them in a certain manner. One finished product so they can play and win. Like I said, it's like in the NBA. Oklahoma City Thunder, who's in the finals, that's always built. It's through the drafts. recruiting until we're going to get a bunch of drafts. Recruiting until we're going to get a bunch of guys who are going to gel and win. It's about to be vindicated if he wins tomorrow night. Going to gel and win. It's about to be vindicated if he wins tomorrow night. And others, like the Lakers generally, we won in 2019. We won in 2019 because we built. Everybody looks at it as Kawhi came, and it's like no. Because we built. Everybody looks at it as Kawhi came, and it's like no. Kawhi came to a strong team that needed one guy to close games, and he was the right guy. But there was a team. We talked about staying afloat. If you focus on the right things, the results take care of them. So it's like working out on your jump shot or your ball handling. The results take care of them. So it's like working out on your jump shot or your ball handling or your passing. The more you train, but if you keep at it, eventually. So if a team focuses on the little things, they will survive the league.
Then I think Umoja, if you watched the game yesterday, there was no. If you watched the game yesterday, there was no teamwork, and it was more of what can you do as a player. Teamwork, and it was more of what can you do as a player. So if only they could play as a team, they would have really.
You see, I'll use thunder for you to picture it easier. And Lindsay, for example, and Stratford, we shoot the three. That is our team philosophy. That is what we use to play. So even if they run your transition, you know if you're open, you shoot, because nobody's going to talk about it. If you go to Strathmore or Lindsay, the teams that are about to play next, you know it's a grindhouse. Or Lindsay, the teams that are about to play next, you know it's a grindhouse.
Yeah.
If you want to stay, find yourself on the bench, because it's a team philosophy. So I ask you now, no bias. Watch Umoja. What is Umoja's philosophy? Exactly. Thinking. Right. That's the whole point. So what is that player trying to fit in? So once they do that, it will address how they recruit players, who they recruit, and why. And this other young boy, I forgot his name, from University of Nairobi.
Kibati.
No, from University of Nairobi, the red hair.
Edwin.
The tall Sudanese guy. Hence, they didn't play them. Everything you watch, even online, the NBA, whatever, when Luka is brought to the Lakers, he starts the game. Because why am I recruiting you? If you're not going to add any particular thing to my team.
Yeah, like what's the shoe that this person was coming to fill? What's the hole that they have identified that
was a rotational role. Why are they not in the rotation? You understand?
Yeah.
I can bring you in to be my sixth man, to be my... See you coming in early. I think my OT came in the second half. First up.
Yeah.
So what gap was he filling in? Because they don't have a real five, man. So what's the plan? You brought him because you said you have a big to play against Feliz Perez and Okal, but he didn't enter the court. That's what addresses who they recruit. You don't take a player because he's good. And currently they're on the collision course to do exactly what Equity did last year, which is where they took all of their players from Equity.
Okay.
Status quo.
So, looking forward to the weekend game. Next weekend, that is. So, we'll be going against Lindsay. So, what's your expectations on those games, or what are you looking forward to seeing those two games?
Well, not Equity, they played.
They'll be playing Thunder on Saturday, and on Sunday they'll be playing
Ulinzi, right?
Yeah.
Well, KPA most likely will be to Lindsay. I think they have an outside chance.
But they're also lacking in big men so far for KPA.
No, they have Bramwell and Morel, they're fine. And they have the young boy who was on the 3-on-3 team. He's not inside. Who were Thunder's big men?
Who are Thunder's big man? Perez
And
Okal.
and so, how many points did they score in the game?
Bounce.
All of that happens because Thunder has strong wings who can shoot the basketball, who can create spacing. That's why that happens. So inside, like I said, if you watched game 1, that is why KPA dominated them for 3/4 of the game.
Okay.
Because inside, and nothing is going to really happen to him. The post of Thunder help on screens, and like you said, in rebound. That's okay. But the real thing is their guards score.
Okay.
And that can compete. So I feel Mombasa is going to be a tough one. You see, KPA, when they play under Kiki and Opel, they play a different style of basketball than under Cliff. They play a very offensive style. I think they scored 100 points twice. They're a fast offensive team. It's a thing Thunder is not used to. They haven't played so far in this league any team that is offensive. In the league, absolutely. My point is, there could be a fight. As long as KPA comes and plays their A game, it'll be a very tough game. And they're at home. Lost the game in the last 3 minutes or so.
So to the viewers, just to continue winding up on this game, something that's really amazing, or I especially Strathmore, till the last minute, like they really continue to grind.
Gen Z Manenos.
They never give up. Never give up philosophy.
Unless you're dead. It's an 11-point game. The referee is entirely wrong about that. I think our local league, we need to work on shooting. I don't think our
The free
focus
throw
on
line.
shooting. Even jump shots, free throws. I think we focus so much on running. It has become a... I want to focus on skills. And the players are used to energy. And I've seen with so many coaches. When you try to only focus on skills of players, it's true. Final scores 93-83 was a very high scoring game.
Yeah. Either way, we are rooting for both of them. I really want to see what Stanbic,
Release.
the fact that they have a new coach, how they're going to finish the
Release.
season, because they really started off
Sorry.
bad for the match of Ulinzi.
She's a lady of many,
versus
many hats.
Strathmore. Thank you.
But all those hats are deserved and warranted.